Hello everyone, this is Muhammad Fahim bin Amin. In today's video, I'm going to start a new playlist where I will be teaching you how you can print a different kind of pattern using Python programming language. Please keep in mind that although I'm using Python programming language to show you the pattern printing process, the same method is also applicable to any other programming language. Alright, like you can apply the same loop, same for loop I'm going to be using in this video, or same nested loop or anything else in any programming language other than Python also, whether it can be C, C++, Java, Rust, or anything else. Okay, now the basic concept matters here. Okay, so one more thing, don't worry about the codes because I will be putting a link of my GitHub repo in this video's description box. From here you can collect all of the codes directly there. Okay, so first of all, let me show you the pattern I'm going to printing in this video. Okay, the pattern is kind of like this. Okay, now listen carefully. We will make sure to follow some steps. Okay, so first of all, please tell me how many lines are there. Okay, line 1, line 2, line 3, and line 4. So we are getting 4 lines in this pattern. Okay, and now look for columns. Okay, before starting for column, let me tell you one thing. The lines which we have been counting till now are called rows. Okay, so this is the first row, this is the second row, this is the third row, and this is the fourth row. Okay, so we are getting 4 rows here: row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4, and this line is called as column. This vertical line are represented by column. Okay, so how many columns are we getting here? This is column 1, this whole thing is column 1, this whole vertical line, and this one is column 2, this one is column 3, and this one is column 4. Now let me tell you the pattern. Okay, so if we look closely in this pattern, I mean in this printed pattern program, we can see a pattern, right? For the first column, the number is 4. The total line or total row number is also 4. In the second row, the number of column is 2. The number of row is also 2. Here, row 3, column 3. Here, row 4 and column 4. Okay, so we can use a nested for loop here. And for nested for loop, I mean two for loop. The outer for loop or the first for loop would be for printing rows, and the inner for loop, or you may call it the second for loop, would be for printing columns. Okay, so let me keep it side by side and start the program. Let me name it as pattern 01. Okay, so first of all, let me declare a variable, an integer variable, and I'm assigning 4 here. Okay, and then I need to print the row first. Okay, row means the lines, like we are printing 4 lines here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. First of all, we will be printing lines, I mean rows. Okay, so for I in range n. Okay, and now line number 2 is for printing the rows, and for line number 3 I'll be using another for loop for printing the columns. Okay, oh, I'm sorry because I haven't added the extension which is pi. Okay, so I'll be using another for loop here for j in range. This will be till I. Okay, because I is the row value here. Okay, let me change it to something else so that we can remember it carefully. For row in range, and it would be for column in range. How many times it will run? till it get the row, until it reaches the row value. Okay, now right now what will it print? It will print a star. Okay, cool. And now I need to run this code to see what output it provides for now. Okay, now if I simply run this code, you see that I'm getting a new line after printing each star, because Python prints a new line by default if we don't tell it that we don't want the new line after printing it. Okay, so we don't want to print a new line just after printing a star. All right, so I will be using int this. This normally tells it that I don't want the new line to be printed after printing this star. Okay, so now if I clear this terminal and run this, you see that I'm not getting any new line after printing each star. Okay, but if we look at the pattern carefully, then you see that we also want a new line when after finishing printing an entire row, we want a new line to jump into the next line and print the pattern. Okay, like after printing row 1, we want a new line so that we can jump into the second line and we can print the second row. And the same things is applicable for the third row and for the fourth row and so on. Okay, this for loop is for printing the rows and this for loop is for printing the columns. Okay, so we want it to print a new line after printing an entire column. Okay, like for example, this is the third row. Okay, in third row we are printing column 1, column 2 and column 3. Our condition satisfies, then we need to jump into the next line, and so that we need a new line here. So for the third row we are printing the first column, second column, third column, and then we want a new line to jump into the next line. Okay, so for that reason we will use simply print. That's it, it will generate a new line. So if I simply clear up the terminal and run the code, okay, we are getting the exact output. Now you may notice that although I have been using n equal 4, I am getting the output for 3 rows. Okay, like for this example, the value of n was 4. Why this is happening? Because by default, if we place n, Python prints up to n. So we can modify it in two ways. Like for example, we can add n plus 1 or we can use 4 plus 1 here. Let me use n plus 1 for now because we want it to print till row n times. Okay, so if I simply clear the terminal and run it, then we are getting the exact output we want. Okay, now if you want a nice space after printing each star in a single row, then we can use a space here as well. Okay, like this. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? Now suppose I want n equal to 10, and then it should print 10 rows, right? It's printing it. If we don't want to tell it earlier how many rows we want to print, and if you think it like this, we don't want it to tell how many rows we want to print each time. Okay, like for example, I want to print 10 rows, so I'm using 10. Or if I want to print 20 rows, I need to edit the code each time. Okay, so what if I want the user to input the row number and then we proceed further? How can we do that? Simply n equal to int input, and we can also add a nice string here, enter the number of rows. Okay, so the full code is like this. Now if I simply clear the terminal and run the code, it's telling me to enter the number of rows. For example, I want to print 15 rows, and if I simply hit enter key, I'm getting the output. Okay, now let's try it out a little bit, shall we? So number of rows, suppose 50. I'm getting a big pattern here. Okay, so that's how this program works. Now if you're new in this channel, then please consider giving this video a thumbs up. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I have another channel where I publish Bengali content regularly. If you are interested, then please go and check that out. The content are not same for the both channel, and if you want, you can follow me in LinkedIn, GitHub, GitLab, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'll put all of the links in this video's description box. So thank you everyone, and I will see you in the next video.